It's now 6:30. I'd like to call this May 14th of 2026 City Council work session to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Orchakowski.
Here.
Councilman Nestor.
Present.
Councilwoman Cosner.
Here.
Councilman Bass.
Here.
Mayor Moser.
Present.
We have a quorum.
See, we do not have anybody here from the church. Who's rising now? Say a quick prayer. Oh, I'm doing it,
Thank God.
Sorry,
Thank you.
John asked me to come out.
Well, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord God. You're doing amazing things in Monessen, Lord. And I ask your blessing over this meeting today. In a world that's crazy, we thank you so much for creating this space that we can come together and just speak of the affairs of Monessen. We ask that your hand be on this place and on decisions and on our hearts and minds, Lord. Bless the panel, Lord. We ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
That's a ring. Turn it down just a little bit. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment directed to myself on agenda items only.
Ernie Telegraphus, 29 Rex. On page 1, we got this Donner Avenue Development Grant. Now, years ago, we used to go with another outfit, and they only took 12% to get us grants. That's at Urban Designs. Then we went with VRE, or RVE, and they've been with us now for 2 years, and the only thing they do is consume the 10% from the CBD funds. So far, now we got number 3, the Donner Avenue Development by Dennis Martinet. So we got 2 people, or 2 groups, trying to bring us grants. And I want to know from tonight, what is he bringing to the table? Is he bringing any capital? Is he bringing some private industry to come in and help develop Donner Avenue? That's question number 1. Question number 2. It's on page 2. This tax forgiveness that you want to give to properties. Now, so far, how many houses did this administration tore down so far, Mayor? Like 100?
Closer to 200.
200, okay. And how many we got here yet? That
About
need-
half a dozen.
Just 12. Now, when you take out those 200 plus this, were you able to substitute or put in place a new resident or a new occupant?
We're working on that.
Okay, so we're using taxpayers' money to knock down these buildings, and we're not putting nothing back on the payroll, which is gonna make everybody in Monessen to pay more for their little properties to make up the difference. And if we don't get industry in here, we're not gonna do anything. You can't grant your way to success or to development. That's my point.
Anybody else? This time I'd like to ask Paul Bernzelli to come forth and let me swear him into office. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, your name,
Paul Bernzelli,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the Constitution of the United State of Pennsylvania,
and that I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of
Board Member for the Mon Valley Sewage Authority
Board Member of the Mon Valley Sewage Authority
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
There's a few things I want to bring to everybody's attention real quick before we get too far. First off, just remind everybody that July is the month that we need to be aligned if we're going to do a multimodal project on Parente. So, and I've got the budget, I've got the resolution, if people want to look at that. We got 2 months to discuss it, talk about it, but
Turn into a bike lane, turn it to 2 lanes to a bike lane.
I thought that was dead.
that's still something to be done. That needs to be done in July, which means we need to pass the resolution in June, and it's coming upon us. I do have all the budget and resolution if anybody wants to get a copy of that to look it over. Also, just for everybody's information, we need to start thinking about what kinds of things we want on the 2027 CDBG budget. And that's available for everybody. You need to get your hot thoughts together. We'll be having some meetings, probably August, but you need to start thinking about it and getting your ideas together. We'll have some public meetings, and I'll try to make sure everybody's aware of when those public meetings are going to be. With that, I think that, one other thing that we did do, the solicitor and myself attended the school system work session and presented the LERTA project. And the LERTA project is one that's going to help bring industry to this town, we hope. And it really depends on the, not the school. There's other cities that have schools that are equal with ours that are doing quite well. So you can't blame it all on the schools. We've got to operate this as a productive city. Which takes us to where I really want to go. Before I turn this over to Dennis, I want to take a moment to provide some context so that we're all aligned. About 2 months ago, Dennis, along with a representative from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, met with us and walked us through the work that has already been underway and the next steps. This is not new information, but it's important that we refocus it on it as a council. When we began this effort, the expected match was 50-50. Because of our status as a distressed community, that requirement was reduced to 10%. That is a significant accommodation and one we should not take lightly. The 10% is not due till the end of the project, I might point out. Let me also remind everybody where we came from. When I took office 5 years ago, the city was in a position where we did not have the resources to meet payroll. DCED assisted us in navigating that crisis, but they also made it clear to us that we met the criteria for Act 47 designation. At that time, I made the decision that we were not going down that path. And I want to be clear, we're not going to go down that path now. Act 47 is not where we're trying to go. Through a great deal of hard work by council, including Tony and others involved in city operations, we stabilized our finance and consistently ended our years with a positive balance across all funds. This is something that we should all recognize. However, if we fast forward to today, the underlying challenges have not gone away. We continue to experience population decline. We continue to struggle to meet demands placed on us for police services, road maintenance, fire protection, and infrastructure. The reality of this is maintaining stability is not the same as attaining sustainability. If we're gonna move beyond where we are today, we have to be willing to bring in outside expertise. We cannot rely solely on our own limited experiences and expect a different outcome. It is also important to recognize that developing this plan is not a short-term effort. It requires several months of focused work, analysis, coordination. The individuals doing this work are providing professional services, and those services must be compensated in a reasonable and structured way. That is why this work is important and why I've asked Dennis to come back before us this evening to walk us through where things stand, what the path forward looks like, and when we'll get there. Following this presentation, there will be a motion to authorize the progress of payment for the work completed to date. I would encourage council to give that consideration based upon the information presented and the need to move this effort forward. With that, I'd like to ask Dennis to come forth and give us a little presentation.
Thanks, Mayor. As the mayor had mentioned, we were brought on board our
A little
team.
bit, so you get too far, you off the camera.
Oh. Our team was brought on board to work on two different projects for the city. The first one is the STMP project, and that's the one that you guys had met with George Newsom. After the past couple of months, I gave some updates on where we've been, what we've been doing, some of the things we've been gathering. And again, as Mayor had mentioned, it's not, there's a lot of effort that goes into getting this information together to provide some good recommendations for the city. So what we've been working on over the past, since that time, is to develop some draft recommendations that we're going to present to you. These are going to become part of the draft report. Some of the things we've heard and some of the things we're doing is trying to get people into downtown, whether it's events, looking at what other cities are doing, just trying to get some activity into the city. Code enforcement, I know, has been mentioned. We're going to be looking at the state has a circuit rider program. We're going to see if we can use money like that for that. We're also going to look at some other options that maybe some other cities are using, but also some other resources the state has. And also what's been brought up tonight, things like LRTA, the NPP. There are also other programs and resources that we're also going to be bringing and putting into this report. So that's just some of the recommendations, but again, these are draft right now. I've also had a discussion with George Newsom. We are setting up, trying to get ready for the Phase 1, Phase 2 meeting. That's part of the steps that are required through this program. We're going to be doing that as soon as possible, that is where we'll be giving you the findings, the analysis, and draft recommendations. I know Mike has been working with Rebecca. I'm sorry to hear about Mom. Make sure I give Mike a call and wish him all my best. But he's been working with Rebecca to get the information from the city that she needs to complete her portion of the financial analysis. And again, what we're anticipating is we'd like to wrap this project up by fall. So that's about 4 months from now. So we are on a fast track to get this thing done. We've been moving along, but again, for the STMP, we are looking at early fall to get this done. Second part of this is the Donner Avenue project. And Mr. Telegraphs, I just wanted to address our role in this was that we were brought on board to do a study for the city. What we're going to end up doing is giving the city a conceptual plan with recommendations for that site. I know you'd asked about bringing capital in that. That wasn't part of our responsibility. That's not part of our role in this. We're trying to give the city some guidance on what they need to do to move that site forward. There will be recommendations in there about trying to access different resources, and we're going to make sure that that's included in there. So we're working with them. We're also trying, as we mentioned before, we're trying to bring stakeholders involved. We want to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on. I know part of this was that one part of our team, they've got some information. They've created a database of developers, of real estate folks, of people that we can reach out and contact. Also, the conceptual plan will be used, again, for the city for marketing, for future development discussions. And then, hopefully, with all of that, some of the potential uses that we're looking for at the site, we're going to be doing through a market and housing analysis. That'll include things, could be everything from a spec building to mixed-use development to light industrial. There's a lot of creative things people are doing now, so we want to look at what other cities are doing, what's been successful, what the state may recommend. So we're looking at best management practices, and again, some of the positives that people are doing out there. We hope to present this draft conceptual plan to council at either your June or July work session, so we can talk to you about it and get it to you ahead of time, but again, talk to you at that point, and again, wrap this project up by early fall as well, so we're on the same trajectory. So that's where we're at right now, with both of those projects, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
I have some. And my questions are gonna start being where, on the one consulting invoice, it talks about reviewing reports, studies, plans, policies, completed for the city and provide information relevant to the financial review and assessment. And it also talks about other things like, team projects and things of that nature. Where is it?
Our review?
Any of it?
Well, we have our review as part of our notes. I mean, that'll be part of the draft report, our findings from those different reports.
So we don't get to see anything
You will
prior
get,
to-
yeah, you'll get to see it prior, you'll get to see that. Part of that is for both of those projects we used reports that the city has that were online, or what we were able to get through the comp plan, the Westmoreland County comp plan, other things that were done for the city. We reviewed those, and that information, it will be in the draft report that you'll get before our meeting.
But we don't see it, what you've done up to now.
Well, I'll get you the report, I'll get you whatever you need.
I mean, council hasn't, to my knowledge, hasn't seen anything, am I correct?
Well, we've had some status meetings along
Yeah,
the way.
we've had, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
No, quite simply, we've had some status meetings along the way.
No, council hasn't heard anything from anything about anything.
Well, we've had the status meetings, and I apologize if we didn't circulate the information for them. That's on me.
I mean, if you're gonna do status meetings, did you have notes? Do you have things like that?
I got pages of notes if you want to see those. I mean,
We haven't seen anything. I mean, rest of council hasn't seen one word.
right, but we typically put that in our draft report. We're still collecting and we're still analyzing information.
And I appreciate that, and I thank you, but I'm looking, as you submit invoices, I would have expected something to back the invoices up as we're moving along, that would be in increments as you billing the grant down. And to my knowledge, nothing, except for this one sheet here that says the hours billed and some of the things it says things that you've done.
Right.
But council in a whole hasn't seen anything, not even a half a page of anything, any of these bullet points, not one.
Well,
Am I
we've-
wrong? Karen, have you seen anything? John? And Robert, you just came on, so. And I know I haven't seen anything, and I know I brought this up last time you were here. I'm looking at something, and I'm looking at a motion to pay this, and that's not a problem, but there's nothing like, I'm questioning, and I'm curious about this one invoice here for an email listing. $2,700 to get an email list?
That's information that was part of the scope of work that we were asked to do. I can get you that, but again, we submitted this because it's work we've been doing. I didn't know that if you wanted this as part of a backup, we could have gotten that to you. But we've been meeting with Mayor, with Mike, with, Councilman Bass was there, I mean, at one of our meetings. I mean, we've been here trying to, keep you guys up to date on everything we're doing.
Well, that's certainly not happening.
That's not his issue.
No, I mean, if there's a disconnect somewhere, and I'm asking the questions because I don't know if there
Okay.
was, or if you weren't aware there's a disconnect, now you do.
Okay, now, yeah, I do.
It's not a great thing, but I think your math is wrong.
Yeah.
The one invoice says $3,900 and then $1,680 for traveling, so it'd be what, $39,680? But the invoice says $39,5040.
Oh. Oh, I know why. If you look at there's actually two. There should have been another. This piece under here did not make it on the back for some reason. It should have been. It should have been the mileage for the other field view, and it would have been added to that, and that's how we would have came up with this. But I can get you a corrected version.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
The other question I have then is the other grant.
Donner Avenue.
Yeah. Again, I'll ask the same questions, the same thing. I don't have a clue.
But we've been doing a lot of background, we've been gathering background data on it, we've been doing field work on that. I mean, I'll get you all of our notes, I'll put all that together, whatever you need, Tony. Again, we're not hiding anything from
No,
you
and
guys.
I'm not trying to imply that you are, but the bottom line is, there's a big disconnect there.
Okay, that's the first time.
I don't want, at least to myself, and I can't speak for the rest of my council members, but I don't want a packet this big, 60, 70, 80 pages and says, here it is, and you're gonna pay the rest of the grant for the other 70 grand. I'm gonna go, what?
No, we're not gonna do that to you. That's why when we get to the draft stage, which is what I mentioned here, in your next meeting, you're gonna see all of our data. You're gonna
Okay.
see everything we've gathered to this date, to this point, plus up to that point.
And from my aspect, and I don't know if anybody else in my council members have a question, my one last question is, last time you were here, you mentioned about the one lady that worked with you that was getting caught up on the...
Rebecca.
Rebecca on the
Yeah.
financial part?
Yes.
Nobody's contacted me yet.
Okay, she has reached out. I know she has been discussing with Mike, but I now wanted to find out from Mike, what she's asked for
So let
him.
me ask you the question that I'm gonna ask. If she's asking financial questions, she's asking the city administrator instead of the CFO.
She was
There's something
asked-
wrong with that.
Well, no, she is going to interview everybody. She is going to talk to you, but she had to get information ahead of time, so she was prepared to talk to you. That's typically the way this happens. She tries to gather as much information as she can, and then she will talk to you. So she's not excluding you from the process, I can tell you that. She never does. She'll talk to everybody up here.
Okay. Well, I just think for that aspect, and I can't speak for everybody else, but from my aspect, I think you should have started with me for the finances, not anybody else. Nobody knows it as well as I do.
Well, no, but she hasn't asked anybody's specific financial question. She's just gathering information she can get. She is going to talk to you. I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Let me ask a couple questions. So, the stamp program, as I understand it, is really an effort by the state to keep people from going into Act 47.
Yes and no, Mayor. The stamp program it's for communities that want to do an analysis, because there are a lot of communities out there that are not even borderline, Act 47. It's communities that are looking for ways to try to find to become maybe more efficient, if there's ways that can help the city out with programs, things like that. That's what the STMP was set up for.
Okay. Upon completion, I assume that we will have some projects that you suggest, that we suggest, that we all have to approve as council
Yes.
before it goes forward. Those projects can be of what type of projects can they be?
There's a variety of projects. I've been looking at what they've been funding across the state for other communities that are in this program. They use it for personnel, they use it for projects, there's a number of different things, but what we want to come up with is 4 or 5 solid priority projects for the city. They have a specific pot of money for the STMP,
Mm-hmm.
and that is different than just say you're going into DCD for just a general grant. So the STMP monies, when you're coming out of this program, you kind of have a leg up on other communities to get projects funded, as long as they've gone through this process and the council says, okay, these are our priorities. So that's what makes that program a little bit different than, say, going after a MAP grant through which is a Municipalities Assistance Program grant through DCD or something else that they may have. So this is a specific pot of money that you can go after.
So if that's the case, in your experience in your other doing this in other places. I think, Elizabeth was the one place?
Elizabeth was a
Okay.
good example.
How much are we talking?
Elizabeth funded, they used one program, which was a sliding scale, but they actually hired a municipal manager. In fact, 2 of the projects we did, they brought in municipal managers. Then they also, whenever the manager was brought in, he turned around and he used some of those implementation projects, and he went after funding through the through the stamp program. I forget, it was, I wanna say, Tony, close to 80 grand, I think is what they paid him. And then like I said, that was scaled down. Some of the other projects that we had for other communities were in somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000, but there could be more. I've seen some projects funded in this last round that were more than that. There were some they were funding plans, they were funding studies, other capital projects, but they were $150,000. There were some other projects like that.
See, my concern is they look at it and they're going to maybe fund something that was gonna just have, that isn't gonna have a long-term immediate, but not an immediate impact on the city. I mean, I just personally don't think we need another city employee getting funded by somebody to look into other things. I mean, I would think that we're capable of doing that on our own.
What about something like a, code enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, it could be somebody, it could be like code enforcement, it's somebody that can give you immediate, they could be out working for you.
And that's great, but what we've seen in the past, or one of the things you run into, and this happened many, many years ago, and that's how we funded even through, I think it was through DCD, right, Joe, that we funded the city administrator.
It was through the early intervention
That's
plan.
what, yeah, and Judy Taylor, who was our city administrator at that time, her salary got funded for a couple of years, and then it got prorated down.
5 years, prorated down. That's
Right.
similar to what is in place now.
Right. The only problem with that is bringing somebody on and having them take care of that person's salary is great for the first year or 2 or whatever, but after a certain period of time, if the city couldn't afford it on the beginning, what makes you think they're going to afford it 2 or 3 years down the road when things are even going to get worse? When I mean worse is your tax base, people leave, they died, and people don't come in, your taxes diminish a little bit. Now you're with an employee that you can't afford.
Well,
So-
their thought was, even in, like, they still have the borough manager in Elizabeth, and their theory was they brought him in and he helped find ways to there may be things he can see on a day-to-day basis. But getting back to your original question is, if I'm not mistaken, I saw in the last round, there were capital projects. So some of the things like you talked about, if we identify through this process, council identifies these 4 or 5 priority projects, if one of them says, I'm just throwing a thing out there, we need a new police car. If that is one of the priorities and DCD says, okay, we'll take that as part of the program, that's something that could get funded. So there are things that could be it could have an immediate impact on the city.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? So you're gonna put this, stamp plan together, the
It's a
draft.
report, yes.
I'm assuming you're identifying any inefficiencies that are going on in the city.
Correct.
Any recommendations on how the city should go look for grant funding through this pot of money are gonna be tied to the inefficiencies? Is that an accurate summary?
Yes, we will identify programs and resources.
Okay.
I just, personally, and I can't speak for everybody else, I just don't wanna see, here's a project and here's a viable option to go after and we can do this, but it's a study for something else.
Oh,
I don't
no.
wanna see any more studies.
No, we're not, we're going after either capital projects or, but again, you're gonna help us, we're gonna bring some suggestions, but we're also gonna listen to your input as well. So if there are things that can be done, we know that everybody's gonna have input on that.
Okay.
So there'll be a draft report.
Yes,
Council's gonna get to have their opinions heard as to what direction
correct,
the final report's gonna go.
yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, Mayor.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. You too.
Just as a point of interest too, for everybody's information, when Joe and I made that presentation to the school district on the alerta, we reduced the term of the LRTA from 10 years to 8 years. And instead of them having the first 5 years with no tax, it'd be a straight 12.5% tax per year going forward. So it became much more palatable to the school district, which, not quite, it's really still a very strong LRTA project, but it's much more in line with what other cities have done, such as Jeanette and so forth.
They still have to approve it, right?
Excuse me?
They still have to
Yeah.
approve it, it was just conversations.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just the initial conversation, going over it. The council will have to have a public hearing at some point, ideally this summer. I think we're gonna wait for feedback from the school district.
Yeah, so far it's positive, but we don't have, I think they're gonna have to vote on it.
As will we.
Yes.
Yes. And it really comes down to, as he points out, that there'll be a public hearing that is discussed widely with the population too, as to what we stand to gain out of that and how it will work out. And it's subject to change even as we nail this down.
Yeah, the primary purpose of the public hearing will be to identify the LRTA zone, which the mayor's proposing to be the entirety of the city, which would qualify. I mean, there's blight, from end to end in the city, so it would qualify.
The overall goal is exactly as Ernie is saying though, we've got to do something to attract business into the area. And I don't believe that school is the entire problem. If you look at places like Ambridge, Ambridge has a school system that's rated very similar to what Monessen's school system is. Ambridge has been suffering the same population decline as Monessen has, except for the last, maybe 3 or 4 years. They've been increasing their population. They were able to turn it around, which we've yet to be able to do that. The biggest difference between Ambridge and here, though, is property value. They're located close to Pittsburgh. They're located close to the airport, to Beaver, to every, but the point being is they have jobs that are paying good money. Now, we've got the 43 that's expanding all the way up into McKeesport, and will eventually tie into all of that up there. If you get on 79, and you go up 79, when you get to Cannonsburg, you start, even before you get to Cannonsburg, you start seeing residential communities. These are bedroom communities that are people working in, living in outside of the city limits and working in Pittsburgh. 43 will give us the opportunity to enjoy some of that too, I do believe. We're close to 43 and we have good property values here. But anyway, there's a lot of interesting things going on between the LRTA project and the NPP, of which we still got to get those folks totally on board, which is a project whereby if you have a business that has more than $50,000 of taxes to the local the state, that'd be big employers, Cleveland Cliffs, Illumina people that have lots of employees. They can trade that tax for tax credits if they invested in the NPP at the rate of about 95%. So they could invest into building a new satellite office in Monessen, if that was what the NPP project was, and it only cost them basically 5% of the money. They have a LRTA project that defers taxes. That brings jobs into the area. That's the kind of thing that attracts industry to come into the area. And that's what we're really hopeful that we'll accomplish some of that. It's critical to the future of the city. We will have a tax forgiveness program. We will have a tax forgiveness program meeting in the upcoming week or two. This will be with the tax forgiveness board that meets. They will be reviewing the properties, see what progress has been made. They will make sure that the contracts are signed that we've developed, and will relieve them of the old taxes that they've had. That's the goal of the project in any event. That's this month. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Is Reba here?
Hello, Mayor and Council. We've been bringing this topic up here and there about the animal control issues that we've been having in town. Throughout, when we started just making these conversations more public, to say that we've gotten a little bit better response from our current animal control, but there is a lot of holes. I have Officer Schrader here, who is very well versed with animal control, with very connected with the organizations that help us out whenever we are struggling with this topic. So I'm going to give the microphone to her.
Thanks, Chief. Okay, so as an officer of Monessen, we get calls responding for involving dangerous animals, neglect cases, strays, bites, and the city complaints of loose dogs. We rely heavily on the animal control to respond. It's been ongoing concerns and issues. Unfortunately, the current animal control we have, she doesn't communicate properly, she doesn't follow through, and she really doesn't support with the officers. We are looking to switch over to Hoffman. The contracts are similar. He responds, he files charges, his kennels are a lot cleaner, works with shelters, and he does communicate with the officers. Who rescued who? There's no effectiveness, does not respond. She has very limited communications with the officers, and I've got complaints that the kennels that they are keeping the animals in are not clean. We've had many incidences where we needed somebody and we had to call all but forgotten to help us, and they're not animal control. So when we have dogs that need to be placed in different things, it's never who rescued who. She always tells us to call other places to see if we can get somebody else to come get the dogs, even with cats and other animals.
Can you define the difference between a humane officer and a animal control?
The humane officer, they're all they don't get paid. It's all volunteer, and they're not able to have contracts with us. They do different types of adoptions, get the vetting, along those lines. That was your...
Yeah, let me interject. There have been incidents where we had to have humane officers come in to assist us with certain things that Who Rescued Who could not help us with. Turn back in time, whenever we did have Hoffman's, we didn't have a worry. I don't know if Mandarino remembers whenever he was chief.
Absolutely, we had him for years even before I was
We
chief.
never had a problem. There
Never
was
a
never a
problem.
problem. We've came across a lot of issues with Who Rescued Who. But again, whenever we start bringing attention to this, all of a sudden there's a little bit more response. I still recall getting a phone call, I think it was like at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, going to a house where there was a medical emergency and there was violent dogs in there, and we couldn't get an animal control out. That was probably a year ago. You weren't working that day, I don't think. Yeah, we had to call other, the one going back where we had the hostage situation, not a hostage situation, but a SWAT situation on Leeds. We had to pay out of our fund, our own fund, for an animal animal control to come in. Now, since all that happened, we brought, again, that's dated sometime, so I don't even know why I mentioned this, it's irrelevant at this point. But at this time, we would like to see us maybe look at these contracts, have council's input, or, try to take our input here on where to go, if it is to remain, or if it is to look elsewhere, but, like, Officer Schrader just pulled out the contracts that we had for Who Rescued Who and Hoffman's, which are identical. So I don't know why there was an issue in the past. We've heard from random people that Hoffman's kennels are very clean. The problem with Hoffman's is he doesn't advertise all his good deeds. He's not very social media. He just does what he does. We were going to have a third party here to help guide us a little bit, but he was unavailable to come for he had a previous engagement. So, anything else you want to?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, I understand your relationship with the animal control officers in that you're in a law enforcement role.
Yes.
And you respond to very desperate cases where you have to call them to get access to it or whatever the case may be. The bottom line is, that is one activity. Do we have any idea how many dogs are picked up as stray dogs that are just running loose and so forth, that are family dogs that got out of the fence and so forth? Do we have any way of, do those even go through the police department? I don't even know.
Occasionally they'll call the station or they'll call 911, "Hi, I lost my dog.
Mhm.
I found a stray dog." But other than that, if they recover, if Who Rescued Who recovered anyone, and stop me if I'm incorrect, we don't know who they have, what animals they have at any times. So if someone reports a stray or their dog got loose,
Mhm.
we not only will keep an eye out for it, got their number in case we come across it, but have them get a hold of the animal catcher or the Who Rescued Who. There's no communication there. Now, again, go back in time when we had another service. Weekly, they came down, gathered reports, not police reports, but we have a separate report that we handwrite regarding stray dogs, minor incidents with dogs. If it's a major, obviously we call them out at that point in time. I don't want to get stuck in a situation where we desperately need animal control and our options are very limited. We do have a one dog pool. The other options we do not want to go down.
Okay.
So, if we come across that type of situation, we want to be prepared. We want to make sure that we're safe, the public's safe, and in the most, not say convenient, but the quickest, easiest way to get this job done.
Okay.
I have a question. Has anyone from the city actually gone to look at those kennels?
I have not.
Because you said that you've heard that Hoffman's is very clean, but has anybody from the city actually gone and asked them for a tour?
Well, it's been a while since we've had Hoffman's.
But the other one as well?
Honestly, I drove past their place in Clarendon. That's as far as, just coming past there in the evening or something, but I've never been in there to inspect it. Again.
Do we have a total of how many times this occurrence has happened?
Do you have any of that?
I do not have any.
It's more than not, but I see what you're trying to get at.
You're gonna have to bring numbers to council that says this is why it's bad before you're gonna.
Well, the problem is, it was bad, it's better, not best, as soon as we brought attention to it.
I mean, I will grant you that they need to really step up, and if they can't, then we should look somewhere else, but Hoffman's, they're out in Delmont, am I right?
Hoffman's is in,
Delmont.
yeah, Delmont.
I can tell you why the city no longer has Hoffman's, and we went with someone else in between this, I think, a couple years ago.
No, we went straight from Hoffman's. We were trying to get Kim Secrete.
Right, we went with someone else too for a little while, because it was different, then they came in this thing, but I can tell you why we switched. No, it wasn't cost. Hoffman's was not a no-kill shelter.
Neither
And he,
is,
who?
neither is the one we have. He's not technically a no-kill shelter.
But we got reports of people that had their dog misplaced and didn't know it. And if he picked the dog up on a Friday and carried it through the weekend and didn't get in contact with anybody, he put the dog down.
But
And that
all-
happened in the city to numerous people, and that's why we decided not to go with Hoffman's anymore, because he stated right in his contract at the very end that he's not a no-kill shelter.
Yeah, it's the same language.
It's the same exact language as this one. I have them both right here, they're both the same exact language.
They're-
I'm just saying,
they're-
they're
we're-
both
we're-
the same exact
The
language.
language in all of these contracts with regards to that, it's pretty much straight out of the statute.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But the point of the matter was
Would it
family
be
members-
possible for you to go visit some of these kennels and see how the animals are, how long they've been held up and how clean they are and so forth?
That's fine with me. On one of the days that we have an extra, if she's an extra, she could go and take a little road trip and do
I think that would be
a pop
worthwhile
in.
to have somebody do that.
I
And
think
then-
that's fine, but
And then we
again,
could do I'll have her generate a report that a little bit more in depth.
And maybe even figure out, is that still a policy? I mean, how many animals have been euthanized at either one of the two places?
Now,
if you go on
Yeah.
Hoffman's Facebook page, and
Yeah.
this is what started this many years ago, okay? There is a plethora of people screaming that they had their dog missing over the weekend and didn't have a caller, and by the time they found out over the weekend, he had nowhere else to keep it, and it got euthanized, and he did that, and there's a whole ton of people, and that's one of the reasons we got rid of him.
but it's a tough field to go down because there is hardly any animal control anywhere. It's very far and few between of actually having, but like I said, we're looking at comparing two businesses, one's in Clareton and Allegheny County, other one's in Delmont, both the same distance away, both a half hour or so away.
I guess it would be somewhat important to me to understand, they both gotta keep records.
Yeah.
How many pets or animals have been relocated? How many have been claimed or relocated to a humane, adopted out or whatever the case is? Do they do any of those things? I mean, I understand the very violent dogs.
Yeah.
The very violent dogs, there's very little you can do with them. They're a problem.
Well, and
But
that's-
if it's a house dog that got out of the fence and running down the street, that's a different thing.
Well, I've dealt with Hoffman's, so maybe I could add a little bit to this.
Okay.
So Hoffman's did do a report every month, just like, the police do a report. How many calls they responded to, how many dogs they took, if the dog was chipped or not, because they checked to make sure the dog was chipped. When I was chief, and prior to that, I don't know of anybody in town that complained that their dog. So Hoffman used to work with the Humane Society, like you said. If they thought the dog was adoptable, they would take it to the Humane Society, or some other shelter would come and take that dog. Now, violent, dogs, dangerous dogs, that was a different story. But if they thought it was somebody's pet, they did not euthanize it in 2 days, 3 days.
Right.
So Hoffman's did do a good job when he was here, and the other thing that was very important with Hoffman's was the response time. When you're waiting for somebody to, you're trying to get to help somebody in their house and their dog's there, and we can't wait for an hour or 2 hours for somebody to show up. So
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
kinda
it-
curious, what's the response time? Now, Hoffman's had a pretty good response time.
Yeah.
So they had a guy that was local that used to come, but he's retired, I know that.
I recently just talked to him.
Okay,
Yeah, he's still kicking.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He calls me every once in a while,
Yeah.
so I know who you're talking about. But anyway, I was just curious about the response time with this current.
It differs, 'cause they do have, Who Rescued Who does have, say, one or two semi-local officers that work for them, and the response time is relatively quick if he's not working his full-time job. If he's working, it might, I think he mill or some type of, where he can't leave, you know, like any other job. His response is pretty decent. If, heck, even going back, to current one we have now, we found out that she was in the hospital for 2 months after she was in the hospital for 2 months. We didn't know. So, you know, now, again, then,
When's the contract up?
We're kinda in the yearly auto renew period, I believe. I think it was up either the end of 24 or 25.
Does that mean we
One
wait
year?
till the year, is there annual renewal?
There is an annual renewal, but I believe there's a 30-day notice to quit.
yeah, this contract was signed in January 24. Well, it was effective January 24. It was signed. Oh, and as per this contract, this agreement shall continue in effect for a period commencing on the date of this agreement and ending December 31st, 2026. This agreement may be extended for 1 year for mutual agreement, but also in termination, when this agreement may be terminated by who rescued who or the city in writing within 30-day notice. Within 30-day notice.
So we have 30,
The end
we
of
have
the year.
30 days, really.
Yeah, I mean, 30 days at the end of the year.
So I would
Yeah.
say before we do anything, we need to get some solid information.
I think it was
Numbers.
worth a field trip myself.
Do you have the signed contract?
I hope we did.
I don't.
I think we got that from Corposh.
Okay.
No, we got that from Corposh or Joy, one of the two we got it from.
So I
Do you
think
want
we're.
the difference between
That's
his
not,
and?
they didn't sign it.
They had that,
What?
They never signed it.
they were doing.
I mean, we could have a signed copy of it. You can have it back.
Okay.
You can have, I have a copy.
You have a copy?
You want a copy of Hopper?
You need a copy of this one too, for?
Sure.
What year was that?
This was,
That was, they just, faxed that recently.
there's
That's
no
the
date on that one.
contract that they would have given us.
This is open, I don't know. There's a
There's no, they just faxed that.
December of 20-something.
Yeah.
But it's, I guess it's worth a, again, it's up to the city's, decision, but whatever, there needs to be some maybe a little bit more checks and balances when it comes to this. Like I said, with Hoffman's, this is Monessen. When you have dog calls and you have a violent dog running around, we also have other calls to go to too.
Right,
So we can't sit there and babysit
right.
a aggressive dog. Yeah, again, we do have a dog pull, but what are we gonna do at that point?
Right,
We can put him back of a police car
make a mess,
and make a mess.
tear up the upholstery, everything else.
Well, it's all plastic. It's all hard plastic now, so,
But I think we need some numbers
okay.
from you
We
guys.
could, we could definitely, I know I started going down that road and my attention span is as of a gnat. Next shiny object comes up and I have to deal with that.
And the reason I ask that is, if we could get a number and how many times this situation happens, we're getting billed anyways from them, so we can match that up with how many calls you're really getting and see if there is a
Well,
discrepancy.
and again, that's kinda like where, Amanda was saying that with the report that was, if we had a report from whoever, we could match that up with the invoices.
Well, they should be giving a report, I signed the checks for some of their stuff and it's a couple $1,000s, so.
I've never seen a report come across my desk.
They're supposed to provide a report
Is it more of a detailed
monthly or
report?
quarterly, the first Monday following the month for all services provided. Detailed monthly, quarterly report.
Are we getting those?
No.
It's not detailed at all with dates.
Yeah, the only thing I think we're getting is an invoice, and I think that's going directly to Joy.
That is.
So if she's actually breaking contract, does that give us a right to actually terminate early?
Well,
If we
got
decide to go
30
to
You're gonna
Hoffman's
need-
instead, wait 6
It's
months?
gonna take 30 days
You're
to
gonna
get
need
anything.
30 days
Yeah,
to
it's-
hire somebody new
yeah.
anyway.
And again, it's hard to find, we could be talking all day about Hoffman's, we could be talking about, ABC Company, they may not wanna come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, again, that's the problem we had whenever we first started going down this road before with another, animal control out of Washington County.
I remember that.
We drug our feet a little bit. Ross Straver picked her up, and then she ended up dropping Ross Straver to go because she was overworked. So, what we can do is we could get a report to you. We'll have Officer Schrader go visit, and if, heck, maybe if they'll all take pictures.
More importantly, see if they're interested, 'cause I would hate
Yeah.
for you to do all that work, and then they'd be like, yeah, we don't wanna come back to Monessen.
Yeah,
Maybe
that-
they'll- You know, maybe they left a sour taste in our mouth.
Yeah. Right, again, that's why we could be talking all this mess here and nothing, you know.
We did speak to other, animal control, they don't wanna, we did speak with other officer, or animal control, not many wanna work with us, and the other ones do work with Robin, who's with Who Rescued Who. So, another officer said that he also heard that Robin was not the cleanliness of, kennels,
Well,
so.
look forward to seeing what you think of it.
Well, thank you both for taking
Thank
the
you.
time to do all this,
Yeah.
thank you, it means a lot.
Well, again, we just wanna put this on the radar. Again, like, it's not something, I know we've been talking about it, but at least we get this ball continuous, and we'll just
Thank
keep,
you very much.
bothering you about it until we get some more answers.
Okay, thank you. So, every Thursday, we've had the lady come in and clean the office here. I think they do the police station too. They do a good job. They mop the floors, they vacuum the floors, they do a good job of cleaning it up. And I think it's important we keep a decent place. They were working under contract with, coverall cleaning services. They've severed that contract, and they're now working under Little Ladybug Cleaning Services. I don't know what that really means as far as the quality of cleaning it means. If we wanna continue using that same lady, we need to change to a different service. If we wanna, see what Coverall Cleaning comes up with as their next people, that's fine. I don't think the cost is any different, one way or the other. I think it's the same cost.
I need to see what the current agreement says. I don't know how long that term is.
I don't either, but all this was just a discussion.
Is this just a sample of the agreement?
Yeah, there's, if you go.
Cause if you're looking through it, this one says $419 per month plus taxes, if applicable, to include 5 times per week of services, and then it only has Thursday checks.
Yeah, the term of the agreement's blank.
Yeah.
Requires 15 days payment after billing, and other city typically wants 30. More importantly, though, you're under contract with your current cleaning provider, which probably need to see how you can cancel that contract.
Okay. Perfect. There is a motion to approve the City of Monessen authorized official resolution number 415 to request of Greenways Trails Recreation Program grant from the Commonwealth Finance Authority to be used for park maintenance and repair of recreation equipment and site development within the City of Monessen Park. This is something that is for you, is that correct?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I'm looking.
I don't know that we can even make motions like this during this.
No, and
During
I'm
work
looking at
session.
this, and it doesn't, it just says grant in the amount of blank, and the Commonwealth Financing Authority, and it doesn't say,
Oh, this is one that has to be done before Friday.
Yeah,
Is this
So-
the grant for the playground equipment?
yes,
oh, okay,
yeah.
Maybe you could help council fill in the blank. I know you've been talking about it for,
You know what
the
that
last
blank
few
is?
months.
Beg your pardon?
I know you've been talking about the playground equipment for the last few months.
Yeah.
This is an expenditure of money, if you will, committing a certain amount of, not dollars, but I believe labor to the project as a
There's
match.
a 15% match,
Mm.
and the match could come with our guys doing some of the prep of the surface of the playgrounds up on top in City Park, with their clearing out the area, getting rid of the playground equipment and things like that. And Mike said he thinks, looking at that, labor could be used as a match. You know, Mike's not here to tell me what he has been doing today working on that, but that's what it is. Because, if you've gone up there to look at that playground equipment, I can't even speculate. It might be 60 years old. Everybody said their parents played on that.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
it is unsafe, but I still think if we replace that with some of the pieces being handicapped accessible, putting a new ramp, a child or an adult even in a wheelchair could get down there, I think we'd probably rent those pavilions out more often. And I was talking to a younger person, and he was telling me that people with families and kids go all over looking for good playgrounds. And he said this is a beautiful location. If we had updated equipment, he thinks we'd get more people into our parks, which I think are a big asset if I had kids to move here to take them. So that's what this is all about. The good thing is this is a 15% match that we can use. If you get a match from DCNR and some of their big grants, it's 50%. And I was told by Adam Mattis at DCNR, he said that's always been the sticking point with Monessen, is that's a huge amount of a match to come up with, whether it's in kind or a cash match. And so we have not gotten very many grants for them, but I'm hoping it would be wonderful to be able to get this grant, and that's what
You know
this
what
is
the
for.
magnitude of this grant would be? Are we talking
Believe it.
10,000, 50,000, 100,000?
I believe it was 150,000.
It was
150,000.
about.
That was your budget, correct?
Yes, yes, we had gotten, an estimate from a local contracting firm, and Mike was to talk to them today about getting that amount down, if some of our guys could do some of that work, and that would be part of the match. And I have not heard from him what his conversation was with them, and I don't see in here the playground equipment, but it was pretty expensive. I'm gonna guess maybe around $125,000 for the equipment. It might not be that much, I don't have.
You were
here.
telling me the parts in the book, that catalog that you were telling me about, some of the parts, some of the parts are so expensive if you're trying to build a playground yourself.
Oh, they're
Save money,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable. It's, unbelievable. In fact, if you go up to Madison Park, there's a seesaw up there, and it was pointed out to me that in the middle, there's a 13.25-inch cap that goes on it, that it's missing. It's a safety issue because kids could put their hands in there. So it's game time, put that in, Madison Park 2004. So I called them today, and I'm naive, and I thought maybe the part would be $400 to put on that. It was over $700 just for a cap for this piece of equipment. So playground equipment is astronomical. We haven't, as far as I know, put any real money into our playground equipment. That's probably, except the boat launch, 2004. So already that equipment's 26 years old, 24 years old. I'm poor math. What am I going wrong here?
I mean, Jerry, I don't know if we can vote on this, but I'm comfortable doing so since this isn't blindsiding us. We've been talking about it for so long. And we have a deadline on Friday. I'd be comfortable voting for something.
Problem is we need to have a dollar value.
I'm pretty confident that it was $150,000 budget.
Which would commit us to about $20-some thousand worth of in-kind work, which I think would easily be accounted for by doing the work that you described.
Right.
Given
Mike, I said you
given-
factor in the equipment that we have and things like
Right.
that. I don't know if you rent heavy equipment, how much it is an hour, but he said we could factor that in using our equipment and our labor.
So can we fill in the blank of $150,000 and make a motion then?
You can.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion to approve the City of Monessen authorized official resolution number 15 to request a Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program grant from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used as park maintenance and repair of recreation, $150,000 equipment and site development within the City of Monessen. Do I have a second?
Second. Sorry.
Any other questions?
No, we got questions.
Yeah, you can't just leave it at that. You're gonna have to put what the match is going to be or what we're
It's a
gonna-
15% match.
15,
Yeah.
so put that in the.
You need to put that in there because this could escalate. I think it's a
it's-
nice idea, but it could escalate.
There's a resolution, to put in the amount that we're requesting. So the resolution's gonna set the $150,000 part. The grant regulations themselves is 15% match.
Okay.
So would that be on top of the 150,000, or that amount would be
Yes,
off
it
of it?
Would be off of it.
Yes.
So it's probably gonna be more than $150,000. Like I said, I haven't talked to Mike today to find out what the ramp
What's the deadline?
tomorrow. Because in order to put this through, we have to send a copy to Representative Devanza and Senator Ward. They have to write a letter of support. And they told me, you have to have this into us 2 weeks in advance.
What if we called it 175,000 instead of 150?
Well, now you're bumping up what we don't have, which is a great idea, but where's this coming out of?
It's gotta come out of in-kind work and labor that our Parks Department does.
Speak up.
Yes,
You're talking about in-kind like we did at the boat launch, right?
yes,
So we can charge them for our excavator, our.
Yes.
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be at 20,000 easily with the man hours and with your matching side, I would think, right?
I would think.
200,000,
You gotta dispose of the old equipment as well, so
right.
What would we do with the old equipment by any chance?
salvage yard.
Could I have
Scrap
that
metal.
slide?
It's gone.
It's
That's
they
why it's
were-
gone.
It's
It had to
already-
be gone, we had to take it down.
It was.
Oh, where's it
It
at?
was deadly.
Where is
That's
the
what I wanna
slide?
It only had 3 legs,
They
Sean.
said in kind, but we're still paying for it, well, you're
It
using.
only had 3 legs.
He wants
I
to.
wanna take it up camp.
I know.
So is this, is it even, I know Karen's worked so hard on this and she's been doing so many things with this, but the deadline's tomorrow.
The-
Is it practical? I'm just being.
Well, they've been working on it for some time.
Well, working on it for some time and doing something's 2 different things. And now, guess what?
Well,
They're knocking at the door.
I know, and I have been, I don't know, would you call it nagging about it, 4 weeks,
So,
yes.
Okay, if they approve it, can that money be distributed to all the parks?
No, it's
No.
for a specific project.
Just one playground?
It's a specific
Yes.
project.
And you know what, Linda, in the scheme of things today, that is relatively inexpensive, and it shocks me, really, it does. The expense of everything, I found it hard to believe, but I think our children deserve what other people have, and I think we'll attract people to use our park if we have updated equipment. And right now, we have no handicapped equipment in this city,
Can we get
even
some
down at the
main
boat
plaques to put
launch,
up there, too?
it's not, so.
Katie, you say it's due tomorrow, does that take in you sending it to our representatives and they writing a letter?
It's due to the representatives tomorrow, so they can
Tomorrow.
write the letter.
Yes.
This is the deadline for
Is
the
the end of the
submittal
month.
is the end of the month.
Okay.
But I had a personal conversation with Kim Ward's office manager, and she said she's tired of people waiting till the last minute. Now, this was well over a month ago I had this conversation with her, when it was within the realm of possibility that it could be done on time. I don't like waiting till the last minute, and I don't want for those people to think, oh, Monessen's waiting for the last minute. She's known about this for 2 months.
Yeah.
So I don't like being in this position, but unfortunately, this is where we are.
So what's the price now?
I would say, again, about 175,000.
Okay.
And if Delmar's accurate in what he's saying about the factoring in the wages and the use of his equipment, I think that could do it, but again, I don't have all the answers to that. I wish I could tell you about the equipment and all the planning and everything like that, and
do you have the grant all ready to go?
you have to do a narrative and answer all these questions. What I would put in this week, everything is in my part, all the narrative, the justification for the grant, everything like that, all the, we have a map of the site, What else do we have? We have I contacted the Westmoreland County Planning Commission, and they gave us a letter of support for the project.
But do you
I have
have
photos and everything. It's all,
do you have your breakdown of what equipment you wanna buy and
oh,
what the cost is?
absolutely, we have plans.
Okay.
Yeah, that was done by, Mark Ford
Is
and his
the only
company.
thing that is in question is the new ramp.
Yes, that's
And
the,
you talked to Tony Vitale for an estimate for that ramp, I believe.
Tony never gave me an estimate for the
Okay.
ramp. It was another company, McGrew Contracting.
Okay.
They
Okay.
did the ramp for the Civic Center, and that's who Mike contacted. We met with them.
Would that,
You got some numbers though.
would that
Yeah,
require?
oh, we have the numbers,
Would
yeah.
that require a bid though? 'Cause
Well,
that's gonna
All
get
this
a-
is gonna
all
require,
of it require a
except
bid.
for the purchase of the playground equipment will require a bid. The playground equipment's likely CoStar's.
We're not buying anything, we're just getting the grant so we can buy something.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause that's what I asked. I said, does that mean we're locked into this company now? Do we have to have bids? And I was told, no, that's not where we are now.
No,
So should we make a change of the motion
for $175,000.
Let's have a motion for that amended amount.
Do I need to read the whole thing again?
Now, we can consider it amended with a
A hundred
motion and a
and-
second.
Okay,
I need a motion though.
need a motion to amend the amount to $175,000. Is there a
Yes.
second?
Second.
Any other questions?
With a 15%
The-
in-kind match.
That is the grant itself.
Well, it doesn't state that here. We've got burned.
You don't get the
before.
grant, it's just,
No, then it states in the grant, then if you don't get the grant, we don't do it.
with a
That's how
match
it's
no
done.
more than 15%.
Second.
Alright.
And just one comment, Mike has to write up what that match, how that match will be. That's part of the grant too, you have to submit what that will entail, how we
And he's-
plan to
Is he gonna
satisfy
be here
that.
tomorrow
I
to
sure hope
do that?
so, sure hope
'Cause
so.
what's our next game plan if
Yeah,
Mike's
we'll
not
sit-
here
I'll
tomorrow,
sit down
sick?
and figure it out myself.
I don't know if, that has to be that granular as to, for the justification.
Okay,
We might be able to cobble something together.
okay.
Karen, is there a time frame like the last one we put in, it had to be done that day?
No, no.
We can take it over a period of time with employee wages and stuff, so that
Oh, yes.
should solve the number up.
Well,
Right,
it's likely to take a while before we get this grant,
yes.
of which we need to remove the unsafe equipment in the meantime. We've had a motion and a second, we've had discussion, call the roll.
Councilman Bass,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes. Let's pay some bills, Tony.
We just made more. Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $23,348.95.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Nestor.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the rec account in the amount of $698.24.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Parks Fund in the amount of $2,782.11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the Liquid Fuels Fund in the amount of $21,634.22.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to approve the transfer of $74,766.27 from the general fund to the payroll account.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass,
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski.
Yes.
Councilman Nestor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner,
Yes.
Mayor Mosher.
Yes.
Motion to transfer $2,200 from the general fund to the healthcare fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to approve the sewer rehabilitation project Phase 3 and payment requisition and certificate number 43 in the amount of $396,397.43. It is for Phase 3 work performed by WEC engineers from March 28th, 2026 through May 1st, 2026 in the amount of $32,429.03. Also included are invoices from Insight Pipe LLC for work performed from April 1st, 2026 through April 30th, 2026 in the amount of $331,442.08. And two invoices from MCSP for CSX permitting in the amount of $5,624.40.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilman Bass?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to approve change order number 7 in the City of Monessen Owners Project Mon 222-05 for sewer rehabilitation project Phase C for the decrease in the contract amount owed relative to adjustments to the original agreement in the amount of $75,903.12.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
A motion to approve strategic management planning program 5-year fiscal management plan grant invoice number in the amount of $3,950.40 for billing for the period of 8/1/25 to 2/2026 for Martinique Planning and Consulting LLC.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Motion to approve Donner Avenue infrastructure and site preparation planning study invoice in the amount of $6,200 for billings in the period of 9/1/25 to 2/20/26 for Martinique Planning and Consulting LLC.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Bass?
Yes.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cosner?
Yes.
Mayor Mosher?
Yes.
Discussion of bellwether purchasing system within the City of Monessen.
Your turn.
My turn?
Mm-hmm.
My turn.
My question to council is this. We have a purchasing system in place, correct? We have a we have a resolution saying how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this council going to continue to allow it to be used the way it's supposed to be, or are we not going to do that? Because I'm getting POs or invoices and things sometimes that just have a description and don't have anything in them. No invoice, no purchase, no quote, no nothing. Now, either we have a policy, and I'm just throwing this out to everybody, cause I have to fight with it every time I see stuff. Do we have a policy or not? As simple as that. Are we gonna say that you're supposed to have 3 bids, quotes, whatever it might be, and anything over something reasonable for, not for something $50 or anything, but no, but that's how we do business. That's not how it's been happening.
Where's the breakdown, Tony, do you think?
Person that enters the requisition in the system's really the one responsible for that. There are some interesting things that come out as a result of that. Just as an example, the library had a requisition in for doing a fire alarm, and it was $495. There's no comparison to that. You suggested we find out what the other prices were. What would it cost to add it to the one that we were, to the existing contract? And it gave us a chance to do two choices.
That never went through the PO.
It did. It was approved a long time ago. We held the PO until we got the second quote.
No, there was a question about fire alarm pulls being pulled, and could we get something to actually go over them?
That's a different thing altogether.
Oh, I thought that's what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about the fire alarm inspection.
Oh, I thought that was just put on our insurance.
No. Just to inspect alarms. By law, fire alarms have to be inspected annually in commercial buildings. That's the law. Turns out, the company that does our inspections here was gonna do it for $1,200 at the library. The price that we had for $495 from the company that was originally suggested was a better price.
Okay.
And what that really leads us to think is maybe we ought to check and see if there's inspections will work here as well.
It still doesn't solve the problem that I'm running into. The council needs to make a decision on what they're going to do.
Well, council's trying to. It's not, council's not the problem. The problem is the people who put in the requisition.
But it is council's responsibility to make sure that happens.
Well, each department can
The buck
do that.
stops with council.
Right.
That it needs to enforce the policy or resolution that we all agree to. There's no gray area involved, but there seems to be a lot of it now. So this is a discussion item, so
Yeah. The point is made. I don't have a problem with it myself. The
So
items
my
I put in there either don't have don't have an option, there's no comparable thing, or I have multiple.
well, here's my simple solution, or my question to everybody. Is if a PO comes through and there's no explanation except for something simple and it doesn't have a breakdown of what's being purchased or anything else, it doesn't get a, it
I'll
doesn't
give you
get
a good example. I have one for WEC of a
library.
PO
I
for
signed the PO.
$14,000, and all the description I have is hours, but nothing to justify what the hours is working for. And guess what I'm doing? I'm sitting on it. I'm not paying.
I mean, there has to be
So
some.
I'm waiting to get
yeah.
more information, and so it's right, it falls on us.
I mean, do you want, I guess what I'm asking council is, do you still want me to continue of holding these things up and saying, and throwing them back and going, this isn't good enough, I need more information?
I think that's your prerogative. If you're not comfortable with it, they have the same responsibility to go back to their people who wrote the requisition, whether it be the police, the parks, public works, or whatever, to get additional information. If they're satisfied with it, they probably ought to put something on the requisition, and then they can enter that into the field. You know, I checked on this as, you know, take some responsibility for it.
You know, Reverend, do you have any ideas?
I don't know. I'm still.
This is your time to shine.
Tony, I think if we have a system in place, and this is how it's supposed to be done, I think we should do it the way we've all said, or someone said it should be done. It might be painful at first, but if everybody does things the way it's supposed to be done, I think in the long run, that's the way we should handle things. And you're saying we have those policies in place, that this is the way it's supposed to be, then.
Well, it's kind of interesting, because there's a lot of things that we do that you do. As an example, Marlene and Joy go back and forth between Staples and Amazon for the lowest price on toilet paper and things like that. They know where the cheapest toilet paper is, and that's what they put in there to do that. So they don't do that every time. That doesn't make sense to waste the time every time. If you've done that once, you're doing it recurring all the time. And then you get the bigger things, such as the police cars. We don't need competing things there. What we need is CoStar prices, and those are handled differently. So somehow or other, common sense needs to be applied as to what devices, what equipment needs to have competing prices. And it would seem to me to be commodity items that have value, that are available from multiple sources. And I'm not sure what that might be. Maybe you have some ideas.
I can continue to do what I'm doing.
Well, I'm asking you a question. I don't know the answer to the question. I'm not being funny or anything else. Where is the problem really occurring? Is it the $200 purchase orders that Mike's approving that is the toilet paper and then the staples that we're getting, or is it the bigger items that we're buying and we're not doing something with?
Some things just lack invoice, a quote, or something else, and I know this seems nitpicky, but every penny we save makes sure that everybody down the road to the end of the year, when we're scraping pennies together, that everybody gets paid and their insurance is taken care of.
Right.
And anything that happens during the course of the year that was not in the budget or somewhere close to the budget, it's like the apple cart, except it gets worse. And as the year goes on, it gets worse. And then before you know it, there's unexpected challenges that come up that we're not ready for. And guess what? We gotta deal with them.
Yep. Well, and I think a perfect example of that was the fire alarm inspection at $500. And you said, I think it was you that questioned, is that the best price? And you said, let's don't process that PO yet. So I held off on it. The PO was approved. You approved it?
Yeah.
And I sat on it. I didn't ever do anything until I got another quote to validate that that was a good price. And it took a while. It caused them to have to come out and do an inspection and prepare the quote. But here, a week or two later, I say, no, that was a good price.
All I want is if council is still comfortable with the fact that I'm gonna continue to do what I was asked and elected to do. And I'm gonna push back. But if I get pushback, I'm gonna push back even harder. And go, this is the way it's going to be. But I don't want flack from everybody going, well, you know, this is the last minute, we need to do this. I don't wanna hear it.
Well, anything should be able to be rectified. If somebody wants something, they need it bad enough, and they can come back and meet your requirements, you refuse the first time, should be no reason why they can't try it again with meeting all the quotes or whatever's necessary.
If I come back and ask for a quote, or ask for a price, or I deem that it needs 3 bids, all I'm asking from everybody is to comply. That's it.
And we do we not?
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
But if we don't, you never approve it, so we're done.
Hey, do you do that regardless of the price? I mean, is there like a
Threshold?
threshold where you don't do that?
The threshold is usually anything under $250 because Mike, the city administrator, can approve that.
Okay.
So it'd be things that are more than that.
Yes.
Okay.
But even if it's, you still need, even if you don't say, come on, this doesn't make sense, I don't need 3 quotes. Just don't put a blanket, and I'm trying not to say what this is. I'm really trying hard not to say what this is. And it's like, give some damn description. That's all. It's not too hard to ask. And, you know, what I keep pushing to everybody is at the bottom line, at the end of the day, and everybody's tired and they go home and they wanted this or need something like this to do a job better, I fully understand it. But it's not our money, it's the taxpayers'
Well, the
money.
bottom line is you control that anyway, so if it's over $250, it doesn't get paid until you do it, or we have a council meeting to decide it. So you have the final say.
And do you have staff meetings with the employees that are writing these and cover this kind of issue?
Well, that's a question for you. You got the streets, and Karen's got the park, I've got the police.
Be careful what you ask for.
John has code enforcement, so we all have our responsibilities.
Tony, I can tell you that Joy really looks very hard to get the best price. I'll give you a real quick example. Is I recently ordered another doggy waste station for the boat launch. There was one left at this particularly low price, and we bothered the mayor on his vacation and said, can you go in there and approve this, because we don't want to miss out on this. This is the best price, and didn't I not bother you?
Yeah, and we did it.
So we try.
I think everybody's very cost sensitive in the city right now. I think everybody's doing the absolute best they can.
So I just need clarity, so anybody that purchased something that's over $250 gotta have a minimum of 3 different sources.
They should.
Sometimes that's not always possible.
It's not always possible.
There's always not 3 people that offer the same product. It might.
Well, what we can't make sure happens, and this is what concerns me the most, and it has happened, but I don't know when it does happen, is when things are put in after the fact, but they've already been purchased. And then we gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And it's not gonna work that way. So,
Things like tires, things like that. We have Co-Stars for tires. We have Barts for installation. I mean, those are not things that we typically have to get. I'm not sure, and I'll talk to you privately, what your concern is.
And you know
he's
what?
got that.
You wanna know what we're paying.
And that's why we have these open sessions. Okay, anything else?
No, the next one, I'd like to just table and forget
Okay.
about.
John, do you have anything you'd like to talk about?
Honorable Mayor, members of council, administrative staff, citizens of Monessen, I will go ahead and defer my report to our next council meeting. Also, I would like to thank, Councilperson Cosner for giving me this article. I was reading through it. It's very nice. It's National Police Week, and it starts from May 11th to May 17th. During National Police Week and every week, we honor and thank all who have served and sacrificed, as well as the families who stand beside them. We owe them a profound debt of our gratitude. This talks a little bit about, officers retiring, more or less officers on the field. I saw the number. It's mentioning about more than 800,000 officers put their lives at risk every day for our safety. I thought that number was very low.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very shocking. This is a very nice article, but I want to thank our men and women. Thank you too, Chief and Chief, for the service. Other than that, I got some folks that pulled aside and were concerned about the lights again at the boat launch. They're still out. I don't know if does the city actually control those lights, or is
No,
that from the light company?
I believe those
the
are
West Penn Power, yeah,
I believe
because
those West Penn Power lights.
all right, because there's like
If Deneen can give us the work order numbers for those that she's done. But if you give me the work order numbers, I can go to the liaison and say, we've got these work order numbers that have been there for weeks and weeks and weeks, get on it. I can
yeah, if she
escalate that
can forward that
level.
information, because I'm getting hounded left and right about that now. And there's some lights now in the park too that are like City Park that are going out.
Okay, and I will follow through with getting a hold of the liaison and seeing what they can do, see if they really can escalate it.
All right, and then my next complaint I got again about the boat launch. Chief Heppel, I'm not too sure, would the fire department be able to go down and hose off down the ramp? There's a handicap parking spot down there that I was told. Now, I specifically didn't get to look at it, but it's covered in mud, and that person who's handicapped wasn't able to get...
There is a fellow who's been parking his truck there a couple times a week, that's probably who it is.
Okay.
They normally, when requested on Tuesday night, fire.
Okay. 'Cause especially, I'm sure it's probably gonna be used a lot too for Memorial Day.
Want it done, I could have.
Yeah, if you could, yeah, I'd really appreciate it, Chief, thank you. And that's all I have. I yield the floor, Mayor, thank you.
Very good. Karen?
All right, I'm gonna defer my report till the end of the month. However, I've noticed as at the walking track, especially up on the upper side of Grand Boulevard, that the track has started to crack, and in some places the cracks are up to 1 inch wide, and the track has never been sealed. And I view our parks as one of the biggest assets we have in this town, every single one of them. In order to preserve this walking track for all the people that are on it every day, I thought we need to take care of it. If not, it's gonna get worse. So I asked a local contractor to meet me last week, and he had his little cart, and he measured off the perimeter of the park, and he gave me a price of $7,200 to fix the cracks and seal the track. Now, I know we don't have money, but I thought, as a plea to anybody out there who has extra money, or an organization, or if you know of someone who has moved away and they have a particular affinity for either the parks or the library or the civic center, if they would consider making donations that could be earmarked for that fund. Now, I remember years ago, y'all remember when John Husher gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to our graduates for them to go on to school. So there are people out there who have money and might be willing to donate it back to the city to keep up with an area that they thought was important when they lived in the town. So I'm hoping if anybody out there has money that they would like to put towards the repair of the City Park walking track, that they would either send me a check or call me or something, because,
Send it to the city. Send it to the city.
Send it to the city and say, this is for a repair of the walking track. Because unfortunately, if we don't get help from our citizens who use these places, as you can see, we don't have extra money to do it, to maintain them, but I would hate to think that 10 years from now, when I go to the walking track, it looks horrible and it has fallen apart. So I'm just making a plea. If anybody out there wants to donate to this $7,200, I would very much appreciate it. Then we could get it done. It would not even be a discussion item.
It's a very well-used walking track too. It's,
oh my goodness, it's,
anytime, day or night, there's people on it.
there are. And so that was one point that I wanted to make. And then this next item deals with a reminder that we're having a town hall meeting to be held on Thursday, May 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. in the City Hall Council Chambers of the City of Monessen for all residents affected by the upcoming Marion Avenue Storm Water Sewer Project.
Let me
Yes.
carry on with this a little bit. First off, there are, I forget the exact number. How many people did we go see?
We had, 18 properties
So
on the list?
there's 18 people,
Yeah.
plus or minus a few, that live along the lines where they're going to need to get access to their yards. It may be just a foot or two, it may be 10 feet or so. Some of the yards, they have to put lines down through the yards. We've been going around, Karen and I have been going around to these people, asking them to sign a right-of-way easement. These people know who they are, and I want to make a plea to them. Come on May 21st. If you don't come on May 21st, bad things are going to start happening. And I don't want to be ugly about this, but the Mon Valley Sewage Authority is going to start using action to take that land and use it anyway. You'll lose control of your land. The bottom line is, May 21st, if you're one of those 18 people, please come to City Hall. Please come. We'll answer questions. We'll have the legal people. They'll make changes in the right-of-ways. They'll do anything they can to satisfy you. It's just a plea.
Yes, and I've been attending the Sewage Authority
You wanna say anything
meetings.
about it?
And one of their engineers will be there, Sean Gaskell will be there, a few members of our representatives from Monessen will be there. So I really believe they're trying to make this easy for people. They're trying to give people as much information as they need, and so I'm just imploring people to show up for that meeting.
And I did talk to the solicitor from the authority today. They did send out letters reminding
Yes.
these individuals that, hey,
Yes.
this meeting's happening on Thursday.
Yeah.
Good.
They've
Excellent.
really gone out of their way to make people aware of it.
They're really working hard.
And it was a fun project for us to walk around. We didn't mind.
They are.
So, are they gonna have to hear that thing?
I can make that recommendation, but I'm assuming they will.
Speaking for the fire department, we were very concerned for Hilltop Club, because the original understanding was they were gonna dig a 20 by 40 pit in our parking lot.
Okay.
As it turns out now, it's only gonna come halfway through our parking lot, 4-foot wide.
Okay.
So I think if they brought that drawing and showed people,
Yep.
we're not digging your garage, moving your garage, we're just gonna go this little distance, tap it in.
Yeah.
They
After meeting with their solicitor and our solicitor, and we have a good understanding, it will be okay.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen, 'cause I was real surprised. I envisioned trenches, and then they showed me on a map that they're gonna be small areas for the most part.
Originally, they told us up to our club and our parking lot would have a 20 by 40 pit.
Oh.
Now it's just gonna be a 4-foot wide by about 30 feet from the road.
Yeah, but as we've been saying, you were able to work with those people, and they were able to explain exactly what they need. And they will be here on 21st for everybody else to do the same thing.
I think it's important to note too that if this project doesn't move forward, the city's going to have to pay additional money to install the EQ tank.
Yes.
So there's gonna be some disruption in this neighborhood. Unfortunately, when these lines were installed many years ago, they weren't installed directly in the right of way. What that sure does beat another $5 per month fee to borrow additional funds for
$10, yeah.
an EQ tank.
Yes.
Okay.
So that point's made. Thank you.
All right, then I would like to schedule a cleanup day for Tyrol Boulevard and surrounding areas on June 13th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Does anybody have any issues with that? I had gotten a call from, or actually he emailed me, and everybody's unhappy with that road, so if that could happen. And we talked about the GTRP grant, and also our upcoming Music in the Park. I need volunteers, so if there's people out there who would like to help me on those scheduled days, please let me know. We would appreciate it. We need all kind of help. And also as a reminder, the Friends of the Library are having spaghetti dinner ticket sales for Felicia's. They're on sale at the library if you would like to purchase a ticket and support the library. And then something else that is not on the agenda is we had a shade tree meeting, and if you recall how I put together a form for memorial benches in all the parks, I put together a memorial tree application. It's in your packet, and I had sent an updated one to Mike because I forgot to add a couple of the parks. But this would be on our website. Marlene would have it. I would send it to Joseph's Nursery because they're usually the people who provide the trees, just so that we can get moving forward a better idea of where trees are being planted. As I spend time in the parks, I see trees are permanent. They're going to last 100 years, and we need to know where they are to make sure they're not being planted over top of a utility line in the ground. They're not being planted too next to a wall where the roots are going to push that wall out, or next to a track where the roots are going to disable the track. And if you've had a chance to look at that, does anybody have a problem with me putting together this, just so that we have a better idea of where we're going with the trees being planted in our parks?
I think that's a good idea myself.
I think you did a great job. My only question when I was looking at it is, there's no dollar amount associated anywhere on there that says, you know, if you want to do this, it's going to cost such and such a fee.
Well, that's out of our hands.
Yeah.
Whoever the contractor is, whether it's Joseph's Nursery or another nursery that plants the trees, that's all on them. We really don't have anything to do with it, but I know there has to be one call made. We want to know, again, if they're on our property digging holes and where they're
Yeah.
going to be.
We don't need to wake up in the morning and find out that they put a park bench right in the middle of a walkway or something like
Yeah.
that, or a tree, or whatever the case may be.
I don't know. I just like to get a better grip on things, and eventually like to put together a committee to have like a 5-year plan for the parks. What do we see as the problems? How are we going to proceed with our parks, whether it's the equipment or the actual facility themselves? I mean, we have 7 parks. It's a lot. So, what do you think about the application? If I can move forward and send this to Joseph, and then Marlene will have it, because people call her. She's the first point of contact for a lot of our projects. So, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
So while you were talking, Karen, about the Shade Tree Committee,
Yes.
what's going on about that grant?
The C2P2 grant?
Yes.
I do not know.
As I understand it, Mark, Melora, and Mike are gonna get together tomorrow and get that resolved, but what that means, I can't say.
I don't know. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Wanna talk about the music in the park?
Oh, well, I didn't I?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
It must have been so exciting. Well, you've forgotten 3
Okay.
minutes ago.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's coming up, so that's it.
Bishop Bass, do you have anything for us?
Yes, a couple things. First of all, I want to defer my report until the end of the month. But I did have a couple discussion issues. I sent them to Mike, but I noticed they didn't make the agenda. And what I just thought we'd have a short discussion on. There were 2 issues. I went down to the Civic Center, and I found, Karen was with me, that we have a lone employee working down there, And that just seems to be a security issue, because she's by herself, and they had a camera that was working, but apparently it stopped working. So if something would happen there, no one would see it. And since the door is open, we need to look at that. And I did talk to Mike on this, and I kinda wish he was here. I won't bring up everything because I discussed it with him. But I do think we need to look at that security for her at the Civic Center. And the second thing, there was a lot of things I talked to Mike about, is that one thing that was bothering me a little bit is that there was a door that was marked exit, that was, the door was chained. And again, on my prior job, we had like 60,000 employees, so it was a little bit different, but we did use the National Fire Protection Association, the 101 Life Safety Code, but I know there are state safety and fire regulations, and I know there probably are local fire regulations which forbids a door to be chained, that people had to leave an emergency. I mean, they couldn't have locks on it, they couldn't make it so difficult that you had to figure it out in emergency. They couldn't use exits that require a key. Now, I was told that that's no longer an exit, but they still have the exit sign there. So whoever's handling the Civic Center need to determine that. If that's the exit, then they need to take emergency exit. They need to take the chains off the door, and if it's not emergency exit, then they need to take the emergency exit sign down. And I know you have a real big wrestling event coming up here, so you're gonna have a lot of public, a lot of people there, and so there's always liability on the city, and that's how I was looking at that. If somebody got confused and smoked, the firemen pointed out to me so ably when they had their event a couple weeks ago, that when it's just the opposite of TV. On TV they show us all this light, we see the firemen's faces but in real life, when you're in smoke, you can't see anything. So I guess those two things, there's other things I mentioned him, but those are the two things that bothered me. So if there's anybody want to discuss it, feel free to do that. Yes?
I did make signs for the doors, and I gave them to Linda, that illustrated that if the gym is occupied, those red bars are to be removed. Then when they're finished with the gym, they're to be put back on. I know that's not the best solution, but at least they are posted on those doors for the people who are using the gym, and hopefully they will. And Linda said that usually those doors during an event are left open anyway because it's so hot in there. But you're right.
When is that wrestling event again? I forget.
Saturday.
This Saturday?
Saturday, I think it starts at 12, and there's other things going on before the wrestling match.
You know what, and I think that's a good start, but there's still some human factors there.
Yep, I
that could
agree.
lead to a problem, so.
You're right.
We need to just probably talk more about that. I know money's short, so it's easy for me to come up with issues. And I know since we don't have a lot of money, maybe some that we got the fire chief, some of these others could just take it. I know somebody went through and looked at it already. I always send 2 different groups through. Maybe they could look at it and make some more recommendations to us that perhaps wouldn't cost us anything. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
It's the Civic Center, the air doesn't work?
The air
Because
conditioner?
8 years ago,
It only works in half the building, I don't know which half it does.
They spent over $85,000 to put a new heating, air conditioning, HVAC system in the Civic Center that was taken from CDBG money.
I don't know anything about that.
But you probably hasn't been maintained.
I think it works, but that is such a massive area for an air conditioner to really cool everything down. I don't know that it's gonna happen if.
Oh, it's a roof unit.
Yeah, but
It's a
I think
big room.
it only does the offices, I don't think it does the big room.
right.
Don't know.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to talk about?
No, Mayor.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Honorable Mayor, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, Thursday, May 14th at 8:20 PM.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.
What, Snickers?
No, thank you, I'm going.
I'll take a
I'm going to
Snickers if no one wants it.
it.
That'll be my midnight treat tonight.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You know what I'm talking about?
Because I'm at the fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
But it may be too late for that this year.
Well, the point of the matter is, I don't need